I've been a long-time lurker on here and decided to share my experience with the paranormal. Background is my mother and I moved in with my stepfather when I was 13. He lived with his father, who was 92 years old and needed constant care, and his younger brother, Bill. The family bought the house during World War II and had lived there over 40 years, and as far as anyone knew, no one had died in the house. Bill was about 50 years old and continued to live in the house because he was a serious alcoholic, and my step-grandfather believed that as long as Bill lived there, the family could somehow limit the amount Bill consumed. At this point, I was sleeping in the second living room because all the rooms were taken. When Bill got really drunk, he would throw a sheet over himself, like a homemade ghost costume, and stand in the living room and try to take pictures of me. He was honestly too drunk to realize a sheet thrown over himself didn't make him invisible. At the time when Bill did this, it wasn't creepy, but more comical. Just something Bill did that made the family laugh at how ridiculous his antics were. About a year later, Bill had met a woman and decided to move in with her. A week after Bill moved out, he was found dead on his girlfriend's couch. He had drunk himself to death. The story is, a month after his death, my family started moving his things out in order to give me a bedroom. It was in the middle of summer, so I often took my laptop in the back of the house where a covered patio was built in the backyard to avoid the heat. There was also a sliding glass door that connected the house to the patio. One night, as I was sitting outside, my mom continuously came up to the sliding glass door and told me to come in for the night. Being a teenager, I just ignored her and continued to surf the net. 10 minutes later, I heard a knock on the sliding door and looked up. There was a person under a white sheet watching me. There wasn't any eye holes, but I could tell it was staring at me. My first thought was that my mom was trying to scare me into coming inside. I said, "Ha ha, Mom, you're so funny. I'll come inside in 10 minutes. The entity stayed there staring at me for 30 seconds, then lifted its hand in a waving gesture, turned around and walked down the hall. I didn't give it a second thought and continued on my computer. 10 minutes later, I came inside, put my laptop in my new room, and went to my parents' room to say goodnight. When I went into my parents' room, the first thing I said was, "The sheet thing wasn't funny. I'm in for the night, so stop checking on me." My mother looked so confused that I reminded her what happened, and her face became completely straight, and she said, "That wasn't me, I swear." She said that my whole body covered in goosebumps, and I became thoroughly freaked out. My mother and I were the only ones in the house. Thinking back, I should have realized what it was. When I replay the interaction in my head, I remember the small things that I should have noticed. The figure was taller than my mother. We didn't have those particular sheets. Bill took them with him when he moved. And when the figure was walking away, it was smooth, almost like gliding. I didn't sense anything evil or angry. I didn't sense anything at all.